This might just be the biggest week of the 76ers' entire 2024-2025 NBA season, and maybe the biggest week they've had in quite some time. I'm going to explain why coming up here on today's show. Before we get into it, I want to give a big shout out and a big thank you to all of our real ones and all of our subscribers out there. We did just surpass 21.1K subs on 76ers now. And look, I know it's been a rough season. A lot of you, especially over the past couple of months, probably haven't really wanted to follow the Sixers or watch very many games all that much. But those of you who have stuck around and continue to join the channel and watch our shows, I just want you to know that I really, really do appreciate it. The grind will not stop as we enter into the offseason. Welcome into the show. I am Jake Chipper. Thank you again for tuning in to today's 76ers Now. And as I mentioned, this upcoming week, starting today, Monday, March 24th, could determine the future of this 76ers organization as we know it right now. Of course, this season has been an absolute disaster. I don't have to re-go through everything that happened all year. You all know what's been going on since the start of this year. The only way to make things, I don't even want to say make things right, but to at least come out of this season with some positives, with some glimmer of hope, is if the Sixers can keep their top 6 protected first-round pick, which, if it falls outside the top 6, we know it goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, these are the odds based on where the Sixers could land, chances to keep their pick. So, if the Sixers finish with the 5th best lottery odds, they will have a 64% chance to keep their pick, meaning a 64% chance that it stays in the top 6. If they drop to the 6th best lottery odds, those percentages go down to 45%. And if they finish with the 7th best lottery odds, that goes all the way down to a 32% chance to keep that top 6 protected first-round pick. Now, of course, the reason we bring up 5th, 6th, and 7th, you look at the current lottery standings as of right now, the Sixers are in a very tight race with the Brooklyn Nets and the Toronto Raptors in that 5 to 7 range. It's really going to fall somewhere in that 5 to 7 range for Philadelphia come the end of the season. And you can see currently the Sixers and the Nets, again, as of Monday, March 24th, before any games are played today, both are 23 and 48, both tied for 5th in the lottery standings, but just one game ahead of the Toronto Raptors, who are currently in 7th in the lottery standings at 24 and 47. Now, the reason I say that this upcoming week is going to be pivotal and could determine the Sixers' future outlook for the next few years is really because of each team's schedule, along with where we are at in the season. Of course, only about 11 games left now, give or take, for every NBA team. So every game for teams making a playoff push matters, but every game for teams trying to rise in the lottery odds matter. And the schedules for the Sixers, Nets, and Raptors, all relatively easy, meaning one of these 3 teams could easily go on a winning streak. Now, the Sixers this week open up Monday at the New Orleans Pelicans, a bad team who are above them in the lottery odds. Sixers could easily win that game despite all their injuries and guys sitting out. Then Wednesday against the Wizards, the worst team in the league. I could see the Sixers possibly coming out with a win in that game. Then on Saturday, you face the Miami Heat, who have been horrific since the Jimmy Butler trade. They have really fallen down in those Eastern Conference standings. Sixers could feasibly win that game. And then on Sunday, big matchup against the Toronto Raptors. One that you will have to lose in order to maintain that spot in the lottery odds because you are fighting right there with them in those 5, 6, 7 range. So pretty easy schedule for the Sixers. We look at the Nets as well. Not all that hard of a schedule. The Dallas Mavericks. Now, Anthony Davis is coming back. I believe as of this moment, he is questionable to play tonight. But regardless, I think that's a game that the Nets will probably lose, even with how bad the Mavericks are. But Wednesday against the Raptors. That Nets-Raptors game on Wednesday, really going to determine a lot. Now, luckily for the Sixers, the fact that they play each other means one of them does have to win. So one of them will get another win on their schedule, but Hopefully it's the Raptors because the Nets are a little bit worse. Then Friday against the Clippers, Nets will probably lose that game. But then they have the Wizards on Saturday. So look, they could beat the Raptors. They could possibly beat the Mavericks with no Anthony Davis. They could beat the Wizards as well. So the Nets could win 2-3 games. All of a sudden, Sixers are in a really good spot. And then the Toronto Raptors as well. Very, very relatively easy schedule. They also play the Wizards. So all three of these teams play the Washington Wizards at one point during the week. That could be a win for all three of the Sixers, Nets, and Raptors. Then, of course, the aforementioned matchup on Wednesday against the Brooklyn Nets. Then they play the Hornets on Friday before traveling to Philadelphia to take on the Sixers on Sunday. Raptors have been a little bit better than the Sixers and Nets, so hopefully they can pick up a win against the Wizards, pick up a win against the Hornets. But regardless, over these next few weeks, not just with these three teams, but with a lot of teams across the NBA that are on the outside looking into the playoff picture, you're going to start seeing some serious next level tank. And I'm talking about guys sitting out. You're going to have guys starting, guys playing for all these different teams that you haven't seen play all season long. We're getting to that point in the year now where we're so close to the end of the season. Guys are just going to sit out of games, and teams are going to do whatever they can to get the best odds to land that number one overall pick because Cooper Flagg is sitting there. And whatever team drafts Cooper Flagg is drafting a generational talent. It is going to be a race for that number one pick. And I'm going to dive into more of some of this next level tanking that we're already seeing from many of these teams. But before we do, I've been telling you guys about this deal on this polo for a little while now. Was $85, now priced down to $57, but it's going fast. There are limited amounts left now at this point. But telling you guys about it for a few weeks. Now is the time to get it before it does sell out. Great thing to wear out on the golf course. I'm going golfing Saturday. Might have to rock it myself. Wear out on a night with the girl. Wear out in the town with the boys. Whatever you want. Look good. You feel good in this 76ers polo. Again, was 85, now just 57. Chetsports.com/76polo. I'll have that in the comment section as well as the description of today's show. So as I mentioned, the tanking we've already seen absolutely going crazy. And for the Sixers right now, obviously we know Embiid shut down for the year. Paul George shut down for the year. Tyrese Maxey hasn't played in a minute. Kelly Oubre hasn't played in a minute. Andre Drummond's been out with a toe injury. Kyle Lowry's barely played all year with a hip injury. Adam Bona's currently out with an ankle. Eric Gordon's currently out with a wrist. Lonnie Walker, who they just signed not too long ago, hasn't played in a few games either with a concussion. And then O'Shea Brissett, who they also just signed, played a couple games. He's out with a knee injury. And then right before I started recording this show, the Sixers announced Quentin Grimes will not play Monday night due to rest. It's already starting. The Sixers have nobody playing. They're starting guys like Alex Reese. Gershon Yabusele's still out there getting minutes. Ricky Council's getting a lot of burn. You can see the Sixers are playing nobody. Some legit, some you could question. If this were a different situation, some of these guys would probably be playing. Now for the Raptors, not quite as bad as the Sixers. And again, for the Sixers, it's not all just tanking. Like a lot of those guys are legitimately injured, of course. They've been very unlucky in that aspect. Raptors as well. Brandon Ingram has not played since they traded for him. Manuel quickly has been resting what seems like every single game. It's unbelievable that teams like the Raptors can just rest guys like quickly because he hasn't been an all-star. Whereas if he were an all-star, Raptors would get penalized for that. But that's besides the point. Grady Dick hasn't been playing either with a knee injury. Jakob Poeltl's been resting as well. That's 4 starters for the Raptors who just have not been playing. 2 of them just because of rest. And then Chris Boucher, another member of their rotation, has been out with an illness. Okay. And then the Nets as well. Now, the Nets are just a very bad team, right? Their roster is very devoid of talent, so they don't need to sit quite as many guys as the Sixers or the Raptors who do have more talented rosters. Cam Thomas is out for the year with a hamstring injury. Ever since that happened, they've been an absolute disaster. D'Angelo Russell with an ankle. We kind of knew once he got traded there and he was going to stay there that he probably wasn't going to be playing all that much, going all out that much, being on this tanking team, although he does like being back in Brooklyn. And then Zaire Williams with a hamstring. So they haven't quite had as many injuries, but they also can just sit guys out here and there. A lot of younger guys on that squad, though. A lot of guys that they want to see play potentially for next season. Look, the Sixers, they cannot mess this up. With how bad it's already been, to end this year with as bad of a record as they have, and then losing their pick to the Oklahoma City Thunder, having nothing to show for it, it will be an absolute disaster. And it would kind of be the most Sixers thing that we've ever seen. So, of course, they can only control so much. It is a lottery, and it doesn't guarantee anything. But do what you can do, control what you can control, and do your best to honestly lose these games and put yourself in a position to keep that pick and maybe get somebody like a Cooper Flag. Now, as I mentioned earlier, they're currently fifth in the lottery odds, so if all does hold, they will have a top 5 pick. Right now, Cooper Flag far and away the number 1 prospect. If they get the number 1 pick, it'll be Cooper Flag, no doubt. Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, both out of Rutgers, both sensational players. I think Ace Bailey a better fit for the Sixers than Harper at that guard spot. VJ Edgecombe, Baylor was just eliminated by Duke in the NCAA tournament, but VJ had a pretty impressive run. And then a guy that is sneaking up my personal draft board here, Con Knuppel, out of Duke. He has proven to be much more than just a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter. He's done a little bit of everything, and I think a guy that would also fit very well with what the Sixers need. Of course, plenty of other prospects as well. Just sort of my personal top 5 right there. As I mentioned, there's no guarantee that just because you finish top 5 that they keep that top 6 pick or that they even jump at all. They could finish with the 5th best lottery odds and still drop to number 7 and not keep the pick. So there's no guarantee. Adam Silver in the NBA hate the 76ers. We all know this, so we'll see what happens come lottery time, but all you can do is put yourself in the best position possible by losing these games. This week in particular, very, very big week where you could gain some traction on some of these other teams like the Nets and the Raptors. Also, if you do keep the number 5 overall odds, because they're probably not going to jump up to number 4. They're too far ahead of the teams 1 through 4 right now. Right now they have a 9.8% chance at number 1 overall. I know it's not a lot, but we've seen crazier things happen. Back in 2019, the Pelicans had about a 6% chance to jump up from, I believe they were at number 7 or number 8, all the way up to number 1 to draft Zion, and it happened. Look, I'm just saying, if the NBA does want a great storyline, Cooper Flag in Philadelphia, that would be something. Before we get on out of here, I need some good vibes. I need some good luck from the people. If you want the Sixers to win the NBA draft lottery, I'm talking win the whole thing, get that number 1 overall pick, hit that thumbs up icon, like the video. Let's see how many likes we can get if we can get some good vibes over in Philadelphia. Also, before we get out of here, be sure to give me a follow over on X at Jake Chipper. I'm always tweeting out about the Sixers when we post a video here on the channel. So if you want to interact with me a little bit, be sure to give me a follow over there.